I'm Heritage Insurance Chief Meteorologist Rob Kupec, and we are here with a fall outlook for the weather for North Dakota. And we'll also give you maybe a little sneak peek preview at what we could possibly see coming up in the winter. So where we're going to turn our attention to first, seems kind of far away from North Dakota, but we're going to go all the way down to the South Pacific. Over here you can see here's the coast of South America. And what we're looking at here is cold water upwelling in the South Pacific. This is called the La Nina pattern. Its opposite of warm water is the El Nino pattern. Now we have been in a La Nina pattern for the last 2 years. So this is the third year of a La Nina pattern. That's kind of rare to go this far along with one pattern without the ocean flipping to either neutral or back to the opposite. And a third year La Nina, sometimes those can be a little different than the first two, which you know what the last 2 winters have been like here, a little cold and a little on the snowy side. One thing that is a little bit different this year too, here's that, you can see that pattern really well here of the La Nina with those waves of cold water moving across the Pacific. But the northern Pacific is considerably warmer than it has been. A lot of warm water here up south of Alaska. That can have an impact on our weather too in terms of areas of low pressure forming up here, a little bit more about energy supply for things that may move out across North America. And again, it all depends on what the pattern is as to where they go. So let's start with what I think my forecast will be here. September, October, November, that's meteorological fall. So these are the months we're talking about. Much of the state of North Dakota below average in the precipitation department, really from around Bismarck, the eastern half of the state, below average into the Red River Valley, western Minnesota. Out in the far southwest corner of North Dakota, things tend to be even a little bit drier in a La Nina fall. So I think they're maybe a little bit more below average. And then that shifts just up to the north, places west of Minot, out towards Williston. Precipitation tends to run a little bit more closer to average in a La Nina setup for the fall. Looking at the temperature-wise, the Red River Valley, pretty good correlation between above average temperatures with a La Nina pattern, and that really extends all the way across the southern half of North Dakota. Devil's Lake Basin, I've colored it a little bit different here. It tends to be above average, but maybe not quite as above average as the rest of the state. And then north central areas of North Dakota around Minot, a little bit closer to average. Then the far northwest corner, areas around Williston, it's a little bit different out there. Tends to either be a little bit above or below average sometimes. So maybe not quite near average, but maybe sometimes even a couple times where it's below with La Nina. So the pattern just a little different in the far northwest corner of the state. Here's the seasonal outlook for the same time period from the National Weather Service. Their forecast a little different than mine. They're just giving you the old equal chance up here across all of North Dakota. But they do have above average temperatures for much of the rest of the country. So maybe their forecast a little different, maybe because they're a little concerned about that pool of warm water up in the northern Pacific, maybe a little more than I am. Seasonal outlook here for the precipitation. Below average precipitation, much of the central part of the United States, right down through that corn belt up there. Equal chances up here, again, on the Weather Service outlook. Only the far northwest corner of the U.S. above average precipitation is what they're calling for. Let's look ahead into the crystal ball a little bit deeper here. All indications is that this La Nina is going to begin to fade as we go into winter. So that may mean a winter that temperatures maybe not quite as cold as they have been, but it tends to be colder and wetter when there is a La Nina. So the big key will be how soon does it fade? If it fades a little bit quicker, then we could go back to a more neutral thing and maybe see temperatures a little bit closer to average. Last year, again, was that second straight La Nina winter, and I think this year a little bit closer to average temperatures, and maybe even snowfall precipitation will still run a little closer to average. A lot of, at least the eastern part of North Dakota was closer to that average. So we'll keep doing these seasonal outlooks as we go along. Our next week, we're going to take a look at the frost dates, or that first frost, average first frost. And we'll try to give you a little indication on whether we're looking at an early or later frost as we head through this fall season.